देश पर राज किया, वो सत्ता में वापसी के लिए इतनी बेचैन है कि हर रोज नफरत की राजनीति कर रही है। कांग्रेस का पूरा इकोसिस्टम, अर्बन नक्सल का पूरा गिरोह जनता को गुमराह करने में जुटा था, लेकिन कांग्रेस की सारी साजिशें ध्वस्त हो गई। उन्होंने दलितों के बीच झूठ फैलाने की कोशिश की, लेकिन दलित समाज ने इनके खतरनाक इरादों को भांप लिया।
मुझे लगता है कि कोई भी व्यक्ति नरेंद्र मोदी जी का चुनावी भाषण और कांग्रेस पार्टी के किसी भी नेता का, राहुल जी का चुनावी भाषण उठाकर देख ले। हम जोड़ने की बात करते हैं, हम आत्मीयता की बात करते हैं, हम मोहब्बत की बात करते हैं। इस समाज में नफरत फैलाने का, मंच से खुलेआम लोगों के कपड़ों से पहचाने जाने का, शमशान कब्रिस्तान करने का, मुजरा मंगलसूत्र करने का काम इस देश में किसने किया है? प्रधानमंत्री जी ने। तो वैमनस्यता कौन फैलाता है? ध्रुवीकरण कौन करता है? असलियत यह है कि प्रधानमंत्री जी अपने ऊपर जो आक्षेप लगते हैं, उनको लगता है वो दूसरों पर लगा सकते हैं। इस देश को बांटने का काम नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने, उनकी पार्टी ने और उनकी सरकार ने किया है। इस देश को जोड़ने का काम लगातार कांग्रेस पार्टी कर रही है, आगे भी करेगी। तो मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि मोदी जी कुछ बहकी बहकी बातें कर रहे हैं।
And well, some very interesting reactions have come in from the opposition camp, with some in the opposition, of course, maintaining that the Prime Minister should have not turned a government program into a political opportunity for the BJP. Others, of course, saying that BJP must be given credit for the kind of victory it's pulled off in the state of Haryana. Listen in.
हरियाणा में अब बैठ के समझना पड़ेगा। मतलब मैं तो पहले ही से कहता था कि ये एग्जिट पोल जो हैं ये आप खामखा वक्त बर्बाद कर रहे हो, लेकिन इतना गलत। उस पर कांग्रेस को थोड़ा सा तो गहराई में जाके सोचना होगा, लेकिन वो मेरा काम नहीं है। मेरा काम यहाँ पे जम्मू कश्मीर नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस को चलाना है और अलायंस की मदद करना है, जो मैं करूँगा।
कांग्रेस को जरूरी नहीं लगा कि जिस सपा ने उनको लोकसभा में 17 सीटें दी, जब उत्तर प्रदेश में कांग्रेस की 2022 के विधानसभा चुनाव के बाद 2 ही सीटें दी, या फिर जिस आम आदमी पार्टी ने उनको 3 सीटें दी दिल्ली में, जहां पर पिछले 10 साल से कांग्रेस की कोई सीट नहीं है, उनको साथ लेकर चलना कांग्रेस को मंजूर नहीं था। तो ये अति आत्मविश्वास है जिस वजह से कांग्रेस को लगा कि वो अकेले ही भाजपा से लड़ सकती है।
मैं ये मानता हूं कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने जो चुनाव लड़ा है वो बहुत ही बेहतरीन तरीके से लड़ा है। हारी हुई बाजी बीजेपी ने जीत ली, ये मान्य करना पड़ेगा। और कांग्रेस तो जीत रही थी, ऐसी कोई व्यक्ति नहीं मुझे मिली देश में कि जो बोल रही थी, या पत्रकार हो या सर्वे की तो बात नहीं करूंगा, कि बीजेपी आ रही है। लेकिन बीजेपी आ गई, उनकी यंत्रणा है, उनका एक सिस्टम है, उनका एक मैनेजमेंट है, उनको मानना पड़ेगा।
Congress was confident that they will win, and the public opinion was also like that, and the post-poll survey also had stated that the Congress will win. And the BJP is at anything, they will do anything. So let us wait and see. I don't know, it is for the Congress to decide, but still there is a fact in that, because BJP is misusing or using all their powers in politics. So we should have some alliance to fight with BJP.
Let me go across to my colleague Pallavi Ghosh joining us live on the broadcast. Pallavi, the Prime Minister has been taking several aims at the Congress. First, at the victory speech yesterday at the BJP headquarters, and today as well. We heard it from the Prime Minister say that the Congress repeatedly is attempting to create a divide in the Hindu community. But that said, doesn't this also mean that Rahul Gandhi, the Congress party, will have to give a rethink as far as the caste census plank is concerned, given it's clearly not worked for them in Haryana, and the BJP is making the most of it now?
Well, in an ideal situation, that's exactly what the Congress party really needs to do. Go back to the drawing board and also rework its strategy. The fulcrum of Rahul Gandhi's politics has been what he has called the the pro-Dalit SC/ST push. But if you look at the figures which have come out and statistics about the electoral results from Haryana, it's very clear that it's not gone according to plan. It's not that the 20% Dalits have ended up voting for the Congress party. In fact, a substantial amount of anger has been shown towards the Congress. It doesn't often work. I mean, many would see this as a double speak, that someone like a Rahul Gandhi talks about Dalit outreach, a caste census only when there are elections round the corner, like in Haryana and Maharashtra. While at the same time, if you talk specifically about Haryana, the kind of treatment or sidelining meted out to Kumari Shelja, that of course has not gone down very well with the Dalit vote bank. So, this is something which the BJP is pointing out. And in fact, I remember even during the campaign for Haryana elections, whether it's the Prime Minister, the Home Minister, the CM, consistently made the point, look the way they've treated a Dalit leader like Kumari Shelja. So, I think that's the strategy of the BJP. The Congress will need to counter it. Not everyone seems to be on the same page. And, elections which are coming up, like in Maharashtra, Jharkhand and Delhi, all of them are ones in which they are coalition allies. And not our allies of the Congress party are not as gung-ho about the caste census as, say, the Congress is.
Oh yes, absolutely. It's a two-front challenge that the Congress is suddenly having to face. One from the Bharatiya Janata Party, which is time and again citing its Haryana victory, and other from the allies. And I would want you to elaborate a little bit on that, Pallavi, because the allies don't sense well, they don't read well into what's happened in Haryana, because the Congress was in an extremely comfortable position.
Well, look, if you talk about Haryana specifically, Bhupendra Hooda told Rahul Gandhi that we don't need the AAP to form the government. At the most, I'm ready to give 5 to 6 seats, and that alliance completely broke down. Look at the kind of responses which are coming in. In Jammu and Kashmir also, Omar Abdullah had said that why is it that the Congress is neglecting Jammu? He forced the Congress's hands to go and campaign there. Look at what the TMC is saying, calling them arrogant. Look at what is Priyanka Chaturvedi, which is there, the seat sharing talks are going to take place, saying the Congress needs to rework its strategy. Look what the AAP is saying, that we don't need the Congress party as far as Delhi elections are concerned. So clearly none of them wanted to look at the Congress party as the big brother, and that is what I would say a huge concern for the Congress, which sees itself as a pivot of the India bloc.
Oh yes, absolutely. In fact, let's put out that conversation for our viewers. You spoke to Raghav Chadda of the Aam Aadmi Party, who said that the Aam Aadmi Party is very capable of taking on the Bharatiya Janata Party all by itself in the national capital. Listen in.
Has called the Congress party, without mincing words, being arrogant. Is this a sense you also get about the Congress party, that they've been arrogant as far as Haryana is concerned?
Look, first of all, this is not the time for name calling, and I will refrain from doing so. As a member of the loyal member of the India bloc, and as somebody who was leading the conversation to forge an alliance in Haryana, I can only say that I'm a bit disappointed, and these election results are a big learning for all of us. It has taught us several lessons, and one of the foremost lessons that has been learned perhaps even by the Congress party is that overconfidence is not good.
So when I'm talking about Jharkhand or Maharashtra or I'm talking about Delhi, so I'm going to ask you specifically about Delhi. Do you need the Congress in Delhi?
First is the category in which there are regional parties or parties with a regional flavor that have the ability, the might to defeat the BJP on its own, and have fairly and squarely defeated the BJP on their very own. The other set of elections that happen in this country are the states in which Congress is the big partner, but they can't defeat the BJP on their own, and they need assistance from the India Alliance partners. In the absence of that assistance from the India Alliance partners, the result unfortunately gets in the favor of the BJP. We are capable of defeating the BJP on our own. We have defeated the BJP on 3 successive elections. We have got the highest ever electoral mandate in the history of independent India in the year 2015 and 2020. And overwhelmingly people, more than 50% of the people of the state in the Vidhan Sabha elections in Delhi vote in favor of Mr. Kejriwal.
सबसे पहला सवाल है कि क्या ये सच में जाट वर्सेस नॉन जाट हो गया, क्या गलत हो गया कांग्रेस के लिए, क्योंकि इतना ज्यादा लहर थी कांग्रेस के लिए लेकिन बीजेपी जीत गई.
देखो, जाट वर्सेस नॉन जाट तो मैं नहीं कहूंगा, क्योंकि जात पात का जहर बोलना बीजेपी का काम है, हमारा काम नहीं है. लेकिन पोलराइजेशन हुआ है और वो हुड्डा साहब के नाम पे हुआ है. जो कर्णधार था
वही जिम्मेदार होगा और कौन होगा। हमारे यहाँ प्रदेश अध्यक्ष तो था ही नहीं, सब कुछ ये बापू बेटा ही थे। तो अगर अच्छा होता तो भी उनका था, और अगर अब बुरा हुआ है तो भी उनका ही रहेगा।
शैलजा जी को जो बीच में साइडलाइन कर दिया गया, कैंपेन में भी नहीं रही, क्या उसका भारी असर पड़ा है आपको लगता है?
100% नुकसान हुआ है पूरे स्टेट के अंदर, इवन मेरे को भी नुकसान हुआ है।
तो पूरा जिम्मेदारी आपको लगता है कि भूपेंद्र सिंह हुड्डा और दीपेंद्र सिंह हुड्डा पे है पूरी हार की?
हार की जिम्मेदारी आप ये बताओ, लड़ मैं रहा हूं तो हारने की जिम्मेदारी मेरी है ना। अब मैं हारा हूं तो मैं ही हारा हूं। तो जब पूरी स्टेट को लड़वाने की और लड़ने की जिम्मेदारी बापू बेटे पे थी, तो सारी जिम्मेदारी उन्हीं की है।
Well, it all started with the Haryana verdict turning in the Bharatiya Janata Party's favor. Historic in many ways because BJP has come to power for a third consecutive term. No party in Haryana has managed to pull this off so far. And this, remember, is not traditionally a BJP bastion. But ever since the verdict came out, we saw several complaints being raised by the Congress. Jairam Ramesh, along with some other senior leaders of the Congress party, said they didn't quite trust the manner in which counting of votes took place, alleging at a larger conspiracy, talking about EVM malfunction, so on and so forth. In fact, filed a complaint with the Election Commission as well. And the Election Commission has agreed to meet the Congress delegation at 6 p.m. today. Though the BJP says this is the Congress party rejecting the people's mandate.
हमारा अनुमान है कि 12-14 सीटें ऐसे हैं जहां गंभीर, इससे भी ज़्यादा हो सकती हैं, पर पहला लिस्ट जो हमने तैयार किया है 12 या 14 सीटें ऐसे हैं जहां गंभीर सवाल उठाए गए हैं उम्मीदवारों द्वारा। जब हम सारे शिकायत इकट्ठा करके चुनाव आयोग से समय मांगेंगे, हम उम्मीद करते हैं कि वो समय हमें मिलेगा। हम उम्मीद करते हैं कि हम चुनाव आयोग के सामने एक विस्तार से, जो अलग अलग ज़िलों से, अलग अलग असेंबली कंस्टिट्यूएंसी से शिकायतें आई हैं, कुछ आज हमने इलेक्शंस कमीशन के सामने रखा था, पर और भी हैं और बड़े गंभीर मुद्दे हैं। हरियाणा के चुनाव के नतीजे अप्रत्याशित हैं, आश्चर्यजनक है, और इसको हम स्वीकार नहीं कर सकते।
यहाँ पर सर्वे की रिपोर्ट आ रही थी, उस सर्वे की रिपोर्ट के अंदर एक तरफा कांग्रेस के पक्ष में माहौल था। कांग्रेस इस प्रकार का वातावरण बना रही थी, झूठ का बवंडर खड़ा कर रही थी कि हम सत्ता के अंदर आ गए हैं। और मैंने बार बार इस बात को कहा, मेरी कोई भी बाइट आपने देखी होगी, सुनी होगी, मैंने ये बात कही है कि हमने इतना काम किया है पिछले 10 वर्षों में आदरणीय मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में, और मुझे पूर्ण विश्वास है कि हरियाणा के अंदर तीसरी बार बहुत बड़े मैंडेट के साथ एक तरफा जीत भारतीय जनता पार्टी की होगी, और वो साबित हरियाणा के लोगों ने कर दिया है।
As far as this entire EVM controversy is concerned, I want to bring in my colleague Pallavi into the conversation once again. What are we to expect later this evening with the Election Commission agreeing to meet the Congress delegation at 6 p.m. Pallavi? Very serious allegations by the Congress, and they stand dismissed by the EC so far.
Both the complaints. In fact, there was one which was filed by Jairam Ramesh yesterday where he spoke about the slow counting or putting up of results by the EC that was quashed by the Election Commission immediately. Even today, while the EC has given time to the big Congress delegation, it has also responded in a letter to Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge, and there are some very strong words which have been used by the EC objecting to some of the allegations coming in from Rahul Gandhi and from the Congress party. See, the EC meets with political parties and their delegations, so they're not going to stop doing that. They're also going to send out a message that we're ready to listen to all opinions, all kind of allegations. But the EC has always been clear about one thing, is that we have a transparent system, rules are followed, and it is absolutely incorrect to say that we are kind of targeting a political party, or there has been some kind of a discrepancy as far as the counting and projection of results are concerned.
And an explanation interestingly came in from the Congress's end, Pallavi. So you must jog our memory through that, with the Congress alleging that there are at least 12 to 14 seats, where the counting of votes hasn't taken place in the manner in which it should have. So tell us a little bit about the allegations to begin with.
Well, I mean, first of all, the allegation which came in from the Congress party yesterday is that why is it that the results are taking such a slow time to be put out on the website? But the reality also is that unlike, say, a private channel which go on trends immediately, the EC, because it is considered to be the verified channel in that sense, they do take their time. Sometimes we see that even after results have been declared, people concede defeat, the official results come out on the website only after 24 hours because the Election Commission has to follow a protocol. That's what they explained yesterday. That's what they repeatedly explained. Of course, Congress has not believed it. And I think when Rahul Gandhi himself tweeted after 24 hours and making the point that we think and we suspect some malpractices, the Congress got its cue, which is why they're not going to let this issue go. I think the Congress is also trying to reach out to its cadre and explain to them that why the results did not go as they expected it.
And the slow updating allegation most certainly fell flat on its face because remember the result remained unchanged. The allegation that was levelled of how the updating on the Election Commission site was rather slow really did not, make sense for the Congress party if you look at the larger scheme of things. Pallavi, many thanks for joining us with all those details. Let's play out some more reactions that we've picked up so far.
भारतीय जनता पार्टी नरेंद्र मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में जिस प्रकार के काम कर रही है, सारे देश में माहौल अच्छा है, जनता को उनकी नीतियां भा रही हैं, जनता रिस्पॉन्ड कर रही है और जो काम है चाहे वो केंद्र सरकार की ओर से हो, हरियाणा सरकार की ओर से हो, सब काम इतने अच्छे हो रहे हैं, लोगों को भा रहे हैं। तो लोगों के मन को भाने वाले इस प्रकार का जो रिजल्ट दिया है और साइलेंट वोटर जो है इसमें बहुत बड़ी भूमिका निभाई है उसने, क्योंकि वोकल वोटर तो हमेशा मीडिया में इधर उधर जा करके या जाके एजेंसियों को अपनी बात बताया था, साइलेंट वोटर को भी बताता नहीं है। और जो गरीब वोटर है, जो जिसको कहना चाहिए अभावग्रस्त जीवन जीते हैं, उनके लिए मोदी जी की नीतियां बहुत बड़ा रोल अदा कर रही हैं।
हमारा स्टैंड यही है कि इंडिया गठबंधन ने जम्मू और कश्मीर में अच्छा काम किया है और सरकार बनने वाली है, और हरियाणा में कांग्रेस ने ये लड़ाई लड़ी है, वहाँ पे जो बाकी गठबंधन थे वो बन नहीं पाए थे और उनको हार का सामना करना पड़ रहा है। इतनी एंटी इनकम्बेंसी थी, हम देख रहे थे सवाल उठाए जा रहे थे भारतीय जनता पार्टी पे, इतने इनकमिंग हो रही थी कांग्रेस पार्टी में, जिन्हें सबने राइट ऑफ कर दिया भारतीय जनता पार्टी को, फिर भी भारतीय जनता पार्टी जीत कर आई, उनके लिए बधाई का विषय है। ईवीएम को लेकर तो बहुत सारी चर्चा बार बार होती रही है कि इलेक्शन कमीशन की जिम्मेदारी है कि उसकी जो डिपेंडेबिलिटी है उसके क्या वो कॉम्प्रोमाइज हो सकती है या नहीं। आज तक इलेक्शन कमीशन ने आकर उसको खुल के हमें नहीं बता पाए हैं।
Yesterday, when the election results were being counted, the Congress party tried to, cast a shadow over the sanctity of the electoral process. But the election commission very clearly said the Congress was indulging in unfounded and malified narratives. The Congress party, as we know, for their selfish political reasons, have never hesitated to destabilize and weaken the institutional pillars of our democracy. The reason why the Congress party has lost yesterday and is repeatedly losing is not because of the election commission or the EVM. It is because of the Congress party's anti-people, anti-Dalit, anti-OBC, anti-tribal, anti-farmer and anti-democratic politics of the Congress party.
कांग्रेस एक पैरासिटिक अर्थात एक परजीवी पार्टी बन चुकी है और कल ये स्पष्ट हो चुका है जो प्रधानमंत्री जी बार बार कह रहे थे। कांग्रेस पार्टी हरियाणा में खुद के बलबूते पर लड़ने की कोई क्षमता नहीं रखती और तीसरी बार बीजेपी की सरकार लगातार बनी है क्योंकि बीजेपी ने काम किया है, परफॉर्म किया है, डिलीवर किया है। महाराष्ट्र में भी जो कांग्रेस के साथी है एमवीए के, नतीजे देखते देखते ही प्रियंका चतुर्वेदी हो या बाकी नेता हो, उनके बयान आना शुरू हो गए और इसीलिए कभी प्रियंका चतुर्वेदी और उद्धव सेना कांग्रेस पर हमला करते हैं, कभी कांग्रेस वाले उद्धव सेना पर हमला करते हैं। महाराष्ट्र में क्या होने वाला है, हरियाणा इसकी झांकी है, महाराष्ट्र अभी बाकी है।
Though the Election Commission has agreed to meet the Congress delegation at 6 p.m, the EC has made it very clear that this, in fact, does look like the Congress's rejection of people's will in Haryana. We head into a very short break for now. We'll be right back. Keep watching.
But if you look at the top band, let's just look at the leads. BJP for the first time in Haryana in lead. For the first time, the BJP is leading in Haryana. At 9:53 a.m. for the first time in Haryana, the BJP is touching the 46 number. They've got the magic number in Haryana for the first time.
Palestinians held a funeral on Tuesday for more than 15 killed in an Israeli attack, which struck a camp for displaced people in Gaza's Deir al-Balah overnight. That's according to Gaza's health ministry. Witnesses said the airstrike destroyed buildings and tents. The air and ground offensive into the territory is ongoing. Residents of Gaza's Jabalia said Israel had sent tanks deep into their city on Tuesday, advising people to leave while it pounded the refugee camp from the air. Israel has said its attack on Jabalia was an attempt to stop Hamas fighters from regrouping there and staging attacks. Health officials said dozens have been killed in Gaza in the past 24 hours. The armed wing of Hamas and the Islamic Jihad said fighters had attacked Israeli forces in the north with anti-tank rockets and that there were casualties among Israeli troops. These attacks came a day after the first anniversary of the Israel-Hamas war, which saw Hamas militants storm through Israeli towns, killing 1,200 and taking around 250 hostages, according to Israel's tallies. Israel's retaliatory offensive in Gaza has killed nearly 42,000 Palestinians, the enclave's health ministry says. Most of Gaza's 2.3 million people have been displaced and humanitarian conditions have deteriorated sharply.
المحرم الدولي يستعملون للمدنيين ولا الأطفال المولودين.
Now we return with the latest coming in from Jammu and Kashmir. Remember, it's been an extremely positive verdict in favor of the National Conference Congress Alliance, with a total of 48 seats being won by the two parties. Omar Abdullah, the Vice President of the National Conference, also a newly elected MLA, and in all likelihood, the next Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir has expressed his gratitude to the voters of J&K while saying that it is now time that the NC performs its duty. In fact, Farooq Abdullah, remember, was the first to announce that Omar Abdullah will be taking on the role of the Chief Minister. And this is going to be a significant moment, remember, for the region. Elections taking place in J&K after 10 years. And Omar Abdullah could just be the next CM of Jammu and Kashmir. In fact, interestingly, Prime Minister Modi also spoke of BJP's remarkable performance in Jammu region and thanked all voters who put their trust in the party. He congratulated National Conference as well, lauded their performance in a post on social media X. But first up, we listen in to the party chief, Farooq Abdullah, and the vision he and his party have for the Union Territory. Listen in.
मैं तो चाहूँगा कि वो बने फाइनल फैसला जब पार्टी की मीटिंग हुई वो होगा We have always reached the people of Jammu when they have not given us votes. We've had ministers who lost from Jammu. We have never ignored Jammu. Jammu has ignored us. But we will show them that we are not going to ignore Jammu. Jammu is as dear to us as Kashmir is.
And CNN News 18's managing editor Zaka Jacob also spoke to Omar Abdullah, who spoke of the party's vision for Jammu and Kashmir, and also once again revealed how his party's first most priority is restoration of statehood in J&K. Listen in.
So statehood is the next logical step, and as you said, the Prime Minister, the Home Minister had promised that during the campaign as well. But what about 370, because you had made that an issue, the return of Article 370. I think you had said in one of the campaign rallies as well that it took the BJP 40 years to get rid of 370. So you're not naive to imagine that, you know, you can suddenly restore 370 just because there is a new government in the state in Jammu and Kashmir. What will it take? Do you reckon 370 can be brought back if, let's say, for example, there were to be a new parliament or a new government at the center? Only then will 370 can be restored?
I'd like to believe so. That said, this government is not changing for the next 4.5 years. So for us, it's part of our political ideology. It's an issue that we plan to keep alive, but it's also not an issue on which we plan to hoodwink people. As the National Conference President said, it's a long struggle. It may take 100 years, but it's not a struggle we're going to give up.
Do you see statehood, and you had mentioned this in the earlier answer as well, you said delimitation, assembly elections, and then statehood. Do you see that being restored forthwith, and what is the new state government's plan to try and sort of expedite, if you will, that process of restoration of statehood?
Will the BJP live up to the promise? I hope so. As I said, I believe the Prime Minister is an honourable man. He has, in more than one speech, more than one interview, talked about full statehood for Jammu and Kashmir. So is the case with the Honourable Home Minister. And I believe the people of Jammu and Kashmir should be rewarded for their faith in Indian democracy. In spite of everything that has happened to Jammu and Kashmir in the last 8-10 years, the people of Jammu and Kashmir overwhelmingly endorsed Indian democratic norms. They deserve to have that recognized, they deserve to have that rewarded, and at the moment the best way to reward that would be to give them what they want, and that is the restoration of their statehood. Because at least that's one issue where we're not divided on regional lines, we're not divided on religious lines, we're not divided on political lines. There is no political party that has said Jammu and Kashmir should not be a state.
But talking about those regional and religious divisions, clearly this is a verdict that's almost like mirroring two states. You know, in Kashmir, your party has done exceptionally well. You have won a majority of the seats. In Jammu, the BJP has done exceptionally well. They've won a majority of the seats. And the concern again and again is this, Mr. Omar Abdullah, that, you know, Hindu Jammu has voted for BJP and Muslim Kashmir has voted for a National Conference. That in itself is a friction. What would you say to the people of Jammu who are worried perhaps that, you know, unki sunwai nahi hogi, that their representation won't be heard because the government will be more representative of Kashmir and Kashmir Valley aspirations and interests?
I want them to believe and to realize, and not only realize but to experience that this is not a government of the voters of the National Conference, or this is not a government of the voters of the coalition. This is not even a government of voters. It is a government for the people of Jammu and Kashmir, independent of who you voted for or whether you voted at all. And therefore this government will be as much a government for the people who voted for the BJP as for those who didn't. And that is only right. No government should punish a people just because they didn't vote for the ruling party. I mean, that's not how democracy works. We win. We win on party lines, but we govern for everybody. And therefore, it would be my endeavor to ensure that whichever leader is elected, whoever heads this government, through their actions, proves that this government is of the people of Jammu and Kashmir. And I'm sure that's what we'll do.
Go across to my colleague Ishan Wani joining us with more. Ishan, you know, we've seen so much of a change in the political landscape of Jammu and Kashmir. If we just talk about the National Conference as well, because here's a man who until a few months ago was not inclined on becoming the Chief Minister, assuming any key role, especially given that this is a Union Territory Assembly that we're talking about. But here he comes, you know, with a vision in place for Jammu and Kashmir. Is all set for the National Conference to take over in J&K now?
Well, absolutely right. It seems that in all likelihood he will be the Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir. Though his father had yesterday said that he's going to be the face of the National Conference and the Congress combined to be the Chief Minister. But he has said that let's hold to our horses and we're going to discuss it in the legislative meeting tomorrow, following which the proposal will be also moved with the Congress alliance partner. And then they will discuss about the Chief Minister's name and allocating portfolios. And they will stay claim for dialing Raj Bhavan and then meet the Lieutenant Governor there. But yes, you know, it will not be easy for the Omar Abdullah to function because he has worked as a Chief Minister of a state in Jammu and Kashmir. Now it has been turned into a UT. He knows the challenges. He knows how it's going to be. That's why you see he's today impressing upon the need for any federal structure or the federal government to work with the central government very closely for development, for restoration of statehood to Jammu and Kashmir. He clearly told CNN News 18 that he knows the challenges ahead, but he's going to work very closely with the government at the center to ensure that the status is returned. And because they have not been able to win, you know, a lot of seats in Jammu. That's why his thrust to the Jammu is that he's going to work for the welfare of everyone in Jammu and Kashmir, regardless of who voted for him or not. And he wants the BJP to actually walk the talk and restore 370 because, restore the statehood, given the fact that they have talked about delimitation following by elections and then statehood. Now, both the things have been done, so he wants the government to restore statehood in Jammu and Kashmir, and he was clear that there will be a resolution that will be passed in the assembly in the coming time when the first assembly is held that the statehood should be restored. Though he has said that you know, he believes that if the government at the center may change someday, so they would want the 370 to be restored. You know, although the government of India says it's a buried case and you cannot restore 370 again, but yes, he knows the challenges ahead. He knows that what's lying ahead, and but all eyes will be now on him taking the claim along with the alliance partner. And that will be interesting to see what are the portfolios allocated, whether he still remains the chief ministerial face of the coalition government, because it was Omar Abdullah under who the National Conference has been able to reach to the seat share where it is at the moment, and he was also instrumental in ensuring victory at two assembly constituencies, including Badgam and Ganderbal. So it's interesting times ahead. One has to wait and see, wait a bit till they're able to stake claim, and then see that how many ministerial berths does the Congress get. And how well are they accommodated, since they are also talking about representation of Jammu region as well.
Many thanks for that, Ishan. If we just go by the results, BJP has also emerged as the main opposition party in Jammu and Kashmir. The Prime Minister, quite content with the manner in which the BJP has performed in the Jammu region. But let's now listen into Ram Madhav in conversation with my colleague Rahul Shivshankar, what he makes of the Bharatiya Janata's performance in Jammu division, because he, remember, was the BJP poll in charge J&K. Listen in.
How do you view the dichotomy in the Jammu and Kashmir result? So you have basically been able to deliver much beyond perhaps your previous record in Jammu, but haven't opened your account in Kashmir, getting a total of about 1.8 or 2 lakh votes.
It is unfortunate, but it is real. There is a dichotomy in this. We secured lots of votes, lots of seats. In fact, all the seats in about 6-7 districts of Jammu, which constitutes the main Jammu area. But we couldn't do well in Pir Panchal region, which is Poonch Rajouri region. We could not secure seats in Kashmir Valley, although we did not expect to win any big number of seats in the valley. That was not any realistic assessment for us even before. But that we could not win. I mean, out of 9 seats, we could only win 1 seat in the entire Poonch Rajouri region. Is certainly something we have to seriously think about, whether we would like to remain keep ourselves as a party of 7-8 districts of Jammu, or we will become a really pan-Jammu party initially and subsequently a pan-Jammu Kashmir party. Of course, going forward, that will be the main mission and challenge for the BJP.
Your opponent, Mr. Abdullah, who was speaking to us earlier in the morning, was saying that BJP winning nothing in Kashmir is a sure sign of the Valley's rejection of the big move, the big transformative move of abrogating Article 370, the whole process that followed afterwards of political detentions, etc., arbitrary arrests, all of that. And this is for the first time the people sending you a loud and clear message that this is not acceptable and that the 5 years of LG rule for Kashmir has been a disaster. How do you respond to that?
Before giving some data about his claims, let me tell Mr. Omar Abdullah that it is also a very clear rejection of his politics of Article 370 in Jammu. He could not get a single seat in all the Jammu districts. He could only get his seats in Poonch Rajouri and Doda Kishtwad.
All right, with that, it's time for us to head into a very short break. News and updates continue on the other side. We'll be right back. Keep watching.
Lights!
Palestinians held a funeral on Tuesday for more than 15 killed in an Israeli attack, which struck a camp for displaced people in Gaza's Deir al-Balah overnight. That's according to Gaza's health ministry. Witnesses said the airstrike destroyed buildings and tents. The air and ground offensive into the territory is ongoing. Residents of Gaza's Jabalia said Israel had sent tanks deep into their city on Tuesday, advising people to leave while it pounded the refugee camp from the air. Israel has said its attack on Jabalia was an attempt to stop Hamas fighters from regrouping there and staging attacks. Health officials said dozens have been killed in Gaza in the past 24 hours. The armed wing of Hamas and the Islamic Jihad said fighters had attacked Israeli forces in the north with anti-tank rockets and that there were casualties among Israeli troops. These attacks came a day after the first anniversary of the Israel-Hamas war, which saw Hamas militants storm through Israeli towns, killing 1,200 and taking around 250 hostages, according to Israel's tallies. Israel's retaliatory offensive in Gaza has killed nearly 42,000 Palestinians, the enclave's health ministry says. Most of Gaza's 2.3 million people have been displaced and humanitarian conditions have deteriorated sharply.
محرم الدولي يستعملون المدنيين ولا الأطفال والمنافسين.
Welcome back. Thanks for staying tuned to CNN News 18. Let's quickly shift our attention now to a breaking news update coming in. This is with regards to a bomb threat received on a flight, on a Vistara flight from London to Delhi, I beg your pardon. And now we're picking up more details with regards to what the airlines have shared. This was a Vistara flight which took off from London for Delhi, received a bomb threat, which then prompted panic among passengers. A written note, in fact, was found in the airplane when it was en route to Delhi. The message was scribbled on a tissue paper in the restroom. The message was discovered by a passenger and then flagged to the crew, following which the crew immediately followed emergency protocols. But I want to go across to my colleague Yash joining us with more details. Yash, all was well. You know, the security personnel conducted in-depth checks following this threat, which was flagged by one of the passengers itself. But it turned out to be a hoax threat. Tell us a little bit about, you know, what the aviation panel authorities are doing about this, because it's become a repeat nuisance.
Well, Christine, this is actually one of those, it is a one of its kind incident, because this threat in particular was actually received when a plane was in air. In fact, it was en routing to the national capital from London. So basically, these are very interesting details which are actually coming to the fore. Like you mentioned, how a note was actually found inside a lavatory, and in fact, then it was flagged to the crew members of that very particular flight. And in fact, then all the security protocols were taken care of. And in fact, then the flight landed around 11:20 at the Indira Gandhi International Airport. And in fact, it was immediately taken to the tarmac. And in fact, then that entire area was cordoned. And in fact, elaborate search was done. And in fact, upon that elaborate search, it was found that there was nothing on the airplane. But definitely, this sort of a airplane hoax call is becoming a menace. In fact, not only in the airplanes, but also when we talk about these sorts of threats at large. But in fact, one thing is for sure that certain, what we are learning from our sources in Vistara, that there were certain passengers who actually created panic, saying that why aren't you landing this flight as soon as possible. But what the crew at that point had said, that all the protocols are being taken care of. In fact, the bomb squad and in fact all the relevant authorities were there on the tarmac when the plane actually landed on the IG airport, because it was actually communicated via the flight captain to the ATC about this very happening. And in fact, then all the safety protocols were actually taken care of. And we also are given to understand from our sources is that the crew members and the pilot of this very flight were also questioned, and in fact they were asked about this very incident. And in fact then that this entire incident was deemed hoax. But definitely this raises certain eyebrows about this kind of gimmicks, perhaps we can call it, because in this situation there were around 300 passengers on the flight, and in fact mid-air flight panic, and in fact this kind of situation can create a chaos which is unimaginable, and that is why this also needs immediate attention of the topmost aviation authorities in this very matter.
Oh yes, it triggers a lot of chaos and panic, and more than that, delay as well, thereby causing a lot of inconvenience to the passengers on board. Yash, many thanks for joining us with all those details. A quick break with that. We'll be right back.
Lights!
Palestinians held a funeral on Tuesday for more than 15 killed in an Israeli attack, which struck a camp for displaced people in Gaza's Deir al-Balah overnight. That's according to Gaza's health ministry. Witnesses said the airstrike destroyed buildings and tents. The air and ground offensive into the territory is ongoing. Residents of Gaza's Jabalia said Israel had sent tanks deep into their city on Tuesday, advising people to leave while it pounded the refugee camp from the air. Israel has said its attack on Jabalia was an attempt to stop Hamas fighters from regrouping there and staging attacks. Health officials said dozens have been killed in Gaza in the past 24 hours. The armed wing of Hamas and the Islamic Jihad said fighters had attacked Israeli forces in the north with anti-tank rockets, and that there were casualties among Israeli troops. These attacks came a day after the first anniversary of the Israel-Hamas war, which saw Hamas militants storm through Israeli towns, killing 1,200 and taking around 250 hostages, according to Israel's tallies. Israel's retaliatory retaliatory offensive in Gaza has killed nearly 42,000 Palestinians, the enclave's health ministry says. Most of Gaza's 2.3 million people have been displaced and humanitarian conditions have deteriorated sharply.
صاروخ 16 محرم الدولي يستعملون المدنيين ولا الاطفال والمولود.
Welcome back. Thanks for staying tuned to CNN News 18. A lot of developments taking place after the big Haryana verdict in favor of the Bharatiya Janata Party yesterday. In fact, breaking news coming in, we're learning that Rahul Gandhi is currently meeting Congress Chief Mallikarjun Kharge at 10 Rajaji Marg. The meeting currently underway, and my colleague Sherin Elizabeth joining us with more details. Do we have more details about what this meeting could be all about? Of course, there is a call for greater introspection from within the Congress cadre who say that this was an unexpected defeat. But tell us more, Sherin.
Well, the meeting just started half an hour back, and this is the first time that both of them are meeting after the debacle in Haryana and their poor performance in Jammu and Kashmir. Of course, there's going to be, like you mentioned, that there is a call for introspection within the Congress party. That is something that will be on the agenda while Rahul Gandhi and Mallikarjun Kharge are meeting. Meanwhile, there is in fact a delegation of the Congress party which has in fact reached the Election Commission as well, as they are going to raise the issue of manipulation by the Election Commission in Haryana election. So that is something that is going to take place in moments from now. But as far as Rahul Gandhi and Mallikarjun Kharge is concerned, they are of course going to look into what is going to be their strategy as far as the alliance partners are concerned. Because remember, big elections of Maharashtra and Jharkhand are coming, where they are in alliance with Mahavikas Aghadi in Maharashtra and with Hemant Soren's party JMM in Jharkhand, and now with the other alliance parties also criticizing like TMC and Aam Aadmi Party, criticizing the Congress party for their performance. Of course, there's discussion on the strategy on how to deal with the alliances in upcoming election and what should be the strategy of the Congress party in these elections will be something that will be discussed in this meeting.
Okay, so Sharon, you're telling us this is more about how the Congress is going to take this forward with the allies going into elections in, let's say, Maharashtra and Jharkhand, and not really about the manner in which Congress has leveled these allegations against the Election Commission?
No, for that there is a separate delegation that has reached the Election Commission. Right now, it's a 8-member delegation who is going to meet the Chief Election Commissioner. Right now, Pawan Khera and Ashok Gehlot have reached the Election Commission. This is a separate delegation altogether. This is not something that will, of course, be could be discussed in the meeting. But the priority of the meeting is that what is really, the aftermath of the elections that they have lost in Haryana, their performance in Jammu and Kashmir, the introspection that everyone has been talking about. That is something that will be looked into by both these leaders of the Congress party. Parallelly, we are seeing that the delegation is going to raise issues of slow counting and also how there has in fact been manipulation, according to them, that has been done in the counting of the Haryana vote. So this delegation is led by the Congress AICC Secretary K.C. Venugopal, and moments from now they will be meeting the CEC. We already know that the CEC has in fact responded to them, saying that these are misinformation that is being spread by the Congress party. We have to see what are the complaints with which the delegation is going to reach now.
Okay, all right. So two developments taking place in the Congress camp parallelly. One is, of course, the Congress delegation meeting Election Commission officials, and the other is Rahul Gandhi interacting with Mallikarjun Kharge, because there's lots to be discussed in the Congress going into elections later this year. Thank you for that, Sharon. We come to the end of this edition of News with that. On the other side, Plain Speak with my colleague Poonam Bode. Don't go anywhere.
If you look at the top band, let's just look at the leads. BJP for the first time in Haryana in lead. For the first time, the BJP is leading in Haryana. At 9:53 a.m. for the first time in Haryana, the BJP is touching the 46 number. They've got the magic number in Haryana for the first time.
Lights!